second.
When you see the public is not turning up in a match, you've seen at Poland and SNP Stadium, the attendance has been absolutely woeful.
What a pass.
We did it for you guys. We did it for that young girl who believes in us. We don't talk too much, but we work on the field. That's who we are. We are Mamelodi Sundowns.
Bang! And Australia win the World Cup for the 6th time.
100 most influential Africans in the world. Fans, please welcome to Barclays Center, South African rugby legend, Siya Kolisi.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
#MSW.
Not your ordinary Monday. It's Reaction Monday. #MSW.
That's huge. I think that's the pinnacle of international cricket, winning a one-day World Cup. Especially over here in India in front of a crowd like this. Phones off, please, Cole. First press conference. Can we get rid of that bloke? Yeah, that's huge. It's been a big year for everyone. But, our cricket team's been to here in India, Ashes World Test Championship, and to top it off with this is just huge. And these are the moments that you'll remember for the rest of your life. I always like to say I'm pretty relaxed, but I was a little bit nervous this morning. Just pacing around, waiting for it to kind of get started. Just seeing the sea of blue in the hotel, getting nearer the ground and just seeing the sea of blue making its way to the ground, all the cars parked with their selfie cameras out. You knew you were walking into something pretty special, and then to walk out, for the toss and just see 130,000 blue Indian shirts, it's, an experience you'll never forget. So awesome day, and the good thing was they weren't too noisy for most of it. The pitch played pretty well, actually. It was quite slow and basically no bounce. But I don't think the bounce was anything different to anywhere else in the tournament. Probably didn't spin as much as I thought it was. Yesterday it looked really dry. But it was quite firm today. So the wicket was fine really. And then the toss, we're kind of umming and ahhing right up until the toss really, but I thought, half a chance of the wicket getting better tonight. And, in a World Cup game, you can make a mistake bowling and it doesn't really matter too much, but if you make a mistake batting and you're under pressure, it can be fatal. So it just felt like it was the right time to go out and have a bowl. Couldn't be prouder of the team for the last 2 years. We've had some tough series, but we've won some amazing series as well, and everyone stood up, and we feel like we've got a great red ball team, and the white ball team's won 2 trophies in the last few years, so it's things are looking pretty rosy.
Things looking rosy. Congratulations there to the Australian team. That's their captain, Pat Cummins, saying that it's the pinnacle of international cricket for Australia to win the ICC World Cup in India yesterday. What a game. What a match. Leading the Australians to a 6-wicket victory after electing to bowl first and restricting India to 240. Travis Head scoring 137 for Australia, while Marnus Labuschagne added 58 as Australia added to their Test World Championship victory over India in the summer. So congratulations Australia. Lots of reaction. It is a Monday today. It is Reaction Monday. So do send us your WhatsApp voice notes, any of these sporting codes. If you're watching Formula One, if you're following the golf, the ATP tennis. Hey, Bafana playing and winning. Hey, they're off now to play against Rwanda. What did you make of that? Were you at the stadium? Were you supporting? But I can tell you that a very, very disappointed Indian coach, Rahul Dravid, admitting that his team were beaten by the better side. India are still without a global white ball title since 2011 after Sunday's shock defeat.
Obviously a tough day at the office. Ran a really good campaign. Really proud of the boys, the way we played right through this tournament. The kind of cricket we played, just the way we, just the quality of cricket that we played right through this tournament, I thought was quite exceptional. So really proud of the efforts, proud of everything that we gave. I think we gave everything we had in this tournament. So really proud of the team, proud of all the boys, proud of the support staff. I think we ran a really good campaign. Just at the last step in the final, we probably didn't have our best game, and credit to Australia. My congratulations to them. They played really well on the day. They were better than us. We were the favourites because we were playing well, but I think you can recognise that Australia is also a very good cricket team. I mean, they also came here with 8 wins on the back, so we were under no illusions that this was going to be a tough contest. We were confident that if we played well, we'd get the right result, but unfortunately on the day they played better than us. And no, I think like I said, it's for us. Of course, there's going to be disappointment. There is disappointment in the dressing room, and there is disappointment among the boys and among the support staff. But certainly, I think when in time, when the dust settles, we can reflect on, I think, what has been a really good campaign. We just kept losing wickets at sort of like critical intervals, and has probably felt that we were about 40 runs short. I mean, I know in the end it looked like they would have chased even 40 runs more. But if we had got to 280, 290, and they were 60 for 3, then it might have been a very different game. But with 240, I think they were always one partnership away from getting there. And yeah, they batted really well. I thought Travis Head played exceptionally well. He got through that initial period. We were a little bit unlucky. He beat the bat a few times. Stuff could have gone our way in that situation. But once he got through that, I thought he played really well.
Well, that's an honest reflection after the Cricket World Cup. As I said, if you're just joining us, Australia are the world champions, doing it for the 6th time. Gift Aka is here in studio with me, cricket analyst. Been chatting to him from the earlier part of the show. He continues to have that conversation. Rob Walter is on the line, standing by just to get his reaction since arriving back here in South Africa. But Gift, just listening to Rahul Dravid, you can tell the man's disappointed. Is disappointed the nation. They were expected to walk away with this World Cup trophy. It wasn't to be. What are you picking up from them in terms of what went wrong?
Well, there's always pressure when you are playing cricket in India. I don't think anything went wrong for them. I think they've played exceptionally well. Their country, India, should be proud of the guys. But I know there's always that expectation. If you from India, you have to win the World Cup. And the guys have done well. I think on the day, the Australians, we have to give credit where it's due. They played well. They read the conditions better. And they bowled better lines. And then when they were batting, they batted with calmness. I think credit to India for the type of cricket that they've played, and it's exciting to know or to see what they will bring in the next World Cup, because I know the Indians will come back, so it's gonna be exciting.
Can they get better than what they were though?
They are a team that never hits the ceiling. If you look at the Indian team of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, look at the team of Virat Kohli, it's generation to generation. They're trying to achieve better. They're trying to better themselves. So it's not a team that will say we've reached the finals, we've won in 2011, and there's nothing better. There's always something better. Look at the brand of cricket they were playing. Sharma was just playing the innings out of this world every time he goes out there to bat. So they can get better. There's always room for improvement. And I hope the next World Cup, when they here in South Africa, that they will play against South Africa in the final.
Oh, you talk about South Africa and playing them potentially in the final, the Gift. I mean, we look at South Africa, what happened at the Cricket World Cup, the semi-final curse continuing with the Proteas again losing to the eventual World Cup winners Australia in a game that at times had shades, though, of the 1999 epic clash between the two countries. The 3-wicket loss, meaning that South Africa have now lost all 5 of the World Cup semi-finals that they've contested. The Proteas 2023 campaign has many similarities, I guess, to the other failed attempts of the previous teams to reach a World Cup final. But although now the Proteas didn't dominate that round-robin stage, I mean, that honour was left to the hosts, India. They were second best team throughout the prelim stage of the tournament, but let's also be less harsh. And unlike previous South African teams in a World Cup, this side didn't enter the tournament as favourites. In fact, they scraped their way into it. South Africa were also at no time on top of the match against Australia. It's therefore, lots to debate about, and that is why we do welcome, proudly so, the Proteas coach, Rob Walter, who joins me on the line. And I got to say, Coach, welcome back to the country. Thanks so much for chatting to us.
Morning, evening, gents. Very well.
Very, very well. Bit of jet lag still?
Yeah, sounds like it, eh?
What's the return back been like, though, Rob? I mean, honest reflections on a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, you always... I think for me, I was worse after the second day than I was, the evening and the day after the game. Sort of sinks in a little bit more, with every day that passes. But, obviously disappointed, but definitely proud of the way the guys played. Just listening to Rahul's post-match there, I sort of felt exactly like he did. So there were lots of similarities there.
And he's obviously had to have a honest reflection, just like you've had to. And then you come back, yes, I mean, it's a different OR Tambo International Airport to what the Boks had, and it could have been for the Proteas. Do things like that, moments like that, just from a personal, emotional side, say anything to you in terms of how best can we improve our cricket, maybe to finally reach that land that we've never, ever reached before?
I mean, the Boks deserve the welcome they got, and they've earned that by dominating World Rugby twice. So there's certainly no feelings towards that. Obviously, we all aspire to, hopefully, in the cricket space, live the same experience as they have. There's definitely that in the camp, and we hope in the future we're able to.
I mean, there are many things happening, the dynamics within the team itself. The talk about the retiring of Quinton de Kock after, signing off in style. He made history in his final days as an ODI player. South African becoming the first wicketkeeper in World Cup history, in fact, to surpass that 500-run mark and claiming 20 dismissals in a single tournament. So all of these are massive individual achievements. And what do we say, Rob, as we reflect back on the career and the journey that Quinton de Kock has had?
Nothing but praise for Quinny. I wouldn't say he left his best for last, but he certainly put on a show in his last World Cup, and he obviously summarised the degree of achievement that he achieved, but just the way he batted. India provides very different conditions from one game to the next, and the way he was able to adjust and be sort of the cornerstone for a number of victories for us in the competition. So, Quinny's talent has never been doubted. Commitment to the Proteas has never been doubted. Obviously, there's varying thoughts on how young he has retired. But ultimately that's his choice to make. And each player knows when that time is right. I think we're all privileged that he bowed out in such style, because he deserves to do that, given the quality player that he is.
Sometimes I was just saying to a fellow guest who's here in studio, I'll introduce you to him in a second. But in these kind of sports, you find even in boxing, there's retirement and then you come out of retirement. In tennis, there's retirement and then you come out of that. Do you think it's a finality now when it comes to Quinny?
I suppose you never know. I don't think Quinny's like any other guy. He's pretty hard-headed, and I think if he's made a decision, he'll probably stick to it. But obviously, if he came to me and said he'd want to have a different conversation, I'd always entertain it. But for now, how I understand it is he's done with 50 over cricket, and he'd like to obviously venture into the league space, and he's earned that opportunity.
All right, so I'm sitting here with cricket analyst Gift Tiger, who we've been chatting with for much of the time here during the tournament. He's here as well just to give a summary. Gift, welcome. Rob is there on the line. Maybe a question or two to the coach?
Yeah, Rob, how are you?
Hi, Gift. How's it going?
Rob, just a question for you. Now that we're looking at 2027, is this where now we're going to be seeing the change in terms of the ODI setup? Or we're still going to keep Temba as the captain? Or we're going to change Temba completely, because not for the reasons that he didn't perform at the World Cup, but for the reasons in terms of moving forward? Are we getting a captain that's going to, go through the 4-year cycle now and captain us at the next World Cup? Have you thought of such changes? And who are some of the youngsters that you think can start coming in? Just one that comes into mind now, it's Dieval Brevis, Rickleton, Tony Tizosi. Those are some of the guys that I can think of now on top of my head. And who are some of those youngsters that you think you can start, bringing them into the ODI side, and most likely that we're going to see in the 2027 World Cup?
Coach?
Well, I think firstly, it surprises me that people are asking questions about Temba's being captain moving forward. As you said, it's not a performance discussion, but we've just come back from a performance and winning games point of view, our most successful campaign in history. So And Temba this year has been outstanding with the bat. So, there's a Champions Trophy in 2 years' time. As I said, the feeling in the camp is very positive and the guys are really committed. And so, I don't think you're going to foresee many guys stepping away from 50-over cricket just yet. But in terms of bringing young guys into the fold, well, we've already done that. We started that against West Indies earlier in the year. So you saw some young faces. We started in the T20 space against Australia. Those names that you've mentioned have all been in there. Tony Dezorzi's played. Deval Brevis has played T20 cricket. Tristan Stubbs has played a handful of games. Ryan Rickleton, as you've mentioned. There's guys like Pat Kruger who had a standout domestic 50-over campaign this year. We saw a lot of big hundreds. And so, I'm worried by the quality of the young cricketers in this country. We're going to continue over the next 4-year cycle to provide opportunities to give these guys international experience, just so that if and when the time comes that guys step away from the game, that they've felt what the international cauldron looks like and feels like, and are ready to perform for the Proteas. But as I said, I think there's a number of guys who are going to stay involved. Temba's one of them. Temba will step away when he decides to. But as long as he keeps performing like he's performed this year, we're certainly not going to have a conversation about moving him out just yet.
Rob, I'm going to ask you just to stay on hold. I'm going to take a quick break and I'll come back after that break and we will wrap things up. An important conversation. Rob Alter is the Proteas coach back in Johannesburg, and also Gift, who is a cricket analyst, who is here live in studio. It's a Monday. It's Reaction Monday.
Marawa Sports Worldwide Live.
In 3, 2, 1.
On 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live.
#MSW.
Do you know how expensive it is to grow a business?
Where will you get the funds?
How will you afford it?
With what money?
Do what others say you can't with the bank that believes you can, by taking out a business term loan. Because not only can you get your loan approved in 3 minutes, the money will be deposited in your account the very same day. Start, manage, and grow your business at standardbank.co.za/rise above the noise. Standard Bank. Standard Bank is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Your next move is everything. Is it silencing the distractions? Or is it focusing on expanding your knowledge? Because growth requires focus. Wits Business School should be your next move, with executive education programs tailored for your needs. Now you can focus on taking the next step. Visit wbs.ac.za to register for executive education programs today. Wits Business School, sculpting global leaders.
Say hello to more scrolls, lols, and streams. End your year off with better internet and better savings from MWeb, SA's #1 fiber ISP. Get uncapped 20 megabyte per second fiber for only $199 per month. You'll pay no upfront costs and get connected in 5 days. Visit mweb.co.za or call 087 700 5000 to find out more. MWeb, better internet, better you. T's and C's apply. Price for first 2 months and web connect coverage depending.
Imagine waking up in a new destination every morning. Cruise the Mediterranean, Middle East, the Caribbean, and more. Cocktails, kids clubs, entertainment galore, and some of the finest dining on and off land. All this, and you only have to unpack once. Don't let that ship sail without you. Contact Flight Centre's cruise team on 087-740-5020 or visit flightcentre.co.za for the latest Norwegian cruise line deals.
Flight Centre.
House & Home brings you massive Black Friday deals with up to 50% off from 20 to 28 November. Get the Nordic Air Leather Single Recliner for just $3,990. Save $2,009. And save $2,309 on a 263-litre Hisense Black Mirror Finish Bottom Freezer Fridge with water dispenser, just $5,690. Only at House & Home until 28 November. Watch the press for more Black Friday deals. T's and C's apply.
Oh, love, finally. After 2 hours of rocking, I just got her down. Honey, you're not listening. What are you thinking about?
It's the Decofern Furniture Black Friday Super Sale with 15 to 40% and more off everything! It's impossible not to shout about getting 15 to 40% and more off everything for the whole of November at your nearest Decofern Furniture or decofurnsa.co.za.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Where we were all just nervously watching the television, what was going to happen? Was South Africa going to make it through to the final of the Cricket World Cup? Well, it wasn't to be. It was going to be inevitable that they ask about the chokers tag, to the coach, Rob Walter. He had an answer.
You need to define what a choke is. For me, a choke is losing a game that you're in a position to win. In this instance, we were behind the 8 ball right from the word go, and we actually fought our way back into the competition and put up a score that gave us a chance. And then again, they got off to a flyer. And we fought and we put ourselves back into the game, and of course we were 30 runs or 40 runs short, but still having them 7 down and a couple of things that balls bouncing just short, a little inside edge that could have been taken, so for me, there's nothing even remotely close to a choke that happened out there today.
Hashtag MSW.
Hashtag MSW.
Not your ordinary Monday. It's Reaction Monday. Hashtag MSW.
Afternoon, Mr. Marawa. Wonderful show as always. My name is Mpo. I'm from Centurion. What a weekend of sport, Mr. Marawa. Wow. From Formula One to the Indians losing it at home. What a spectacular final. Well done to the Australian cricket team. They outplayed the Indians on their own turf, in their own conditions. Wow. What a magnificent result for cricket as a whole. Also F1, the Vegas Grand Prix. Didn't start off well, but wow, what a race. Well done to Max Verstappen. Well done to Leclerc for passing Perez on the last lap. It was an entertaining race from the get-go. And Bafana, well done to you guys. Keep up the good work, guys. Slowly but surely the support will come back. Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Wonderful show, my brother.
All right, thank you so much. Lots of your WhatsApp voice notes are coming through. It's a Monday today, which means it's Reaction Monday. Hashtag MSW live on 947. Live on Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. You're live on the YouTube channel if you want to watch and listen and comment. In just a few minutes, we're going to be having Colin Nathan stepping into the studio. He's a boxing manager and trainer. He's not a happy man. He's very disappointed about the state of SA boxing. He'll tell us exactly why. Pulling no punches with that one. Gift Aka is a cricket analyst as we wrap our conversation with Rob Walter back in the country after the spell at the Cricket World Cup. Rob, I know that there's not much time really. You have to put the World Cup campaign behind you. What's first? What's uppermost? What's important for you now as you start to chart the way forward?
I think the most important thing is to not lose sight of the things that we did excellently well in the competition. We were front runners in many of the phases of the game, both as bat and ball. We had records broken. I think it's important to understand, those things and to hold on tight to those things because, in my opinion, we played outstanding cricket the whole way through. Obviously, we had a few losses along the way, much like most teams, barring India. And then the semi-finals, fought bravely, probably on the wrong side of the conditions in the first 10 overs. And then just to be real about the areas that we could touch up on and get better on. And there are always those areas when you come at the back end of a campaign. There's always things to look back on and get better on. As you said earlier about the Indian side, I don't think any side will be any different. Everyone's looking how they'll improve their game. Everyone's looking what the trends of the games are and what the trends might look like moving forward, and then how to sort of build your own brand around that. So we'll keep edging forward in the way that we play the game, just continue to try to play exciting brand of cricket, but continue trying to evolve our skills as well.
Gift, your final question to Coach?
Coach, here, just a quick one from my side. I'd like to say well done on your first outing to get to the semis. But what can we expect in the future? The type of cricket that you want to play, the brand that you want to play. I mean, are you still keeping the same coaching staff? Because I saw the togetherness in terms of the coaching staff. The guys did well. It's the first time that, batting at the World Cup has done exceptionally well like this. Obviously, Eric is an experienced campaigner in terms of coaching and that. So the bowling also did well. But what can we expect from you and the type of cricket that you'd like to see the South Africans play in the future series, World Cups, tournaments? What can the South African public expect from here going forward?
Yeah, just to sort of replicate the cricket we played in the World Cup. From what I can gather, we're excited by the way we played. You don't break our scores in World Cups and that without playing exciting brand of cricket, and we did that. So it's just to continually do that, but I understand oppositions will get better. With the bat, it's for it to look exactly the same. We want to just continue to shift the bar, when we continue to lift our skill level up. And then from a bowling point of view, you had two very young, inexperienced campaigners there who stood up and played exceptionally well, surrounded by some experience. And so for us, it's just for those two guys to continue to grow their confidence around the experienced heads in the team, continue to grow their skill sets. We've got work to do on our skills, and everyone has, but we're very clear as to what that looks like. Obviously, we've got the India series, which is coming quickly, and you're certainly not going to improve your skill levels in 10 days before we get together for that series. However, we want to continue building on the way we play the game, the way we have played the game.
Yeah, Rob, you know what? I echo exactly what Gift said. It's easy to throw such criticism as people have done. I listened and I followed to a lot of your, whether it was pre or post match, the interviews, handling international media, and so on. And I just thought that half the time you were always a step or so ahead of those questions, meaning that preemptively, you were there. The media would have wanted you to say something completely different for headlines, etc., etc. But as a coach, as a leader, and as somebody who's put in the forefront of such a massive task for South Africans, you did well in terms of that. And I do hope, as Gift has been asking regarding the future, the plans, the type of cricket that you would want to see the country playing, I do hope that that comes into fruition because, the signs are there. There's just that one little matter of getting over whatever it is that we can't get over. And we'll find that pretty soon. But, from all of us as South Africans, just to say a big thank you. We'll keep on diagnosing. We'll keep on looking back. But as we look forward, I wish you everything of the best.
Cheers, Robin. Thanks for your guys' support. I genuinely believe the loss in that semi-final will be the catalyst to our first World Trophy victory. It's not too far away. Keep believing.
Thank you so much, Rob. Rob Alter there, the Proteas coach, joining us right here on hashtag MSW Mara Sports Worldwide. Gift to you as well. May you not disappear, sir. We need that knowledge and that voice to continue to guide us right here on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much indeed. Gift, like a cricket analyst, a good friend of the show, and wishing him everything of the best. Like I said, don't go anywhere because, Colin Nathan is here. He's warming up. He's got his gloves on. Believe you me, he's got them on.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
But all I say is the cricketers, rugby, they get to the major tournaments. So we're failing. So if 2010 was the last time we made it, that says a lot. Had we not been hosting the World Cup in 2010, forget about it. Get Itiski Times as well as BBC journalist Robin Juk Madlala.
This is a World Cup qualifiers. And then again, we are up against it. The last time Bafana won the opening FIFA World Cup qualifier was in 2004, Robert. We qualifying for the 2006 World Cup. We didn't win the opening game. 2010, yes, we were the host, but we didn't win the opening game. 2014 in Brazil, we didn't win the opening game. 2018, didn't win the opening game. 2022, we didn't win the opening game. Now we're playing against Benin.
We're ranked 93rd in the world,
Hashtag MSW.
Hashtag MSW.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. My reaction Monday, Mr. Marawa, will be on Bafana game, which I attended at Moses Mapita Stadium on Saturday. I was happy with the win, Mr. Marawa, but I think the boys, after they led in that game by 2-0, they little bit take the foot off the pedal, which makes Benin come to us in numbers. And the injury of Matobe Mvala. I think it's a little bit destabilized our defense, but let's hope he will recover in time to be in the starting lineup in the next game. All in all, I was very, very happy with the team. Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show.
Not your ordinary Monday. It's Reaction Monday. Hashtag MSW.
All right, so one thing is clear, guys. One thing is clear. Many of our households, irrespective of color, I mean, we all grew up loving the beautiful game of boxing. Certainly an unsung sport that has got a fabric knitted in terms of our culture. You can't deny that whoever you are, wherever you've grown up, that has been it. I mean, it's been deeply in our culture and in our background. Yet one, I don't know, I mean, for whatever unexplainable reason, media and everybody has reported on this, but it remains unpopular and underrated sport in our country. Is it by design? I don't know. And can you imagine just how massive the sport would be if it got the kind of support it deserves? Can you imagine where our boxers would be if they got the right kind of backing and lucrative sponsorship deals? I mean, they'll be global superstars. Why, even with such a rich history, is boxing still given so little respect in this country? Let's delve a little bit deeper, though, into this. And with renowned trainer, mentor, Colin Nathan, Nomaganjani is here. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the show.
Viva, Robert. Thanks for having me on your platform. It's your studio is amazing. It's great to be here.
Good to have you here, man.
Thank you.
I know you've come back from a very disappointing loss.
Crushing, but
Yeah.
it's part of the sport. You know, it's disappointment. It happens. It's life. And, you know, if you're not prepared to deal with the consequences of boxing and getting caught with a horrible punch at the wrong time and making a mistake, you know, we shouldn't be in the sport. But it happens, and, you know, we're picking up the pieces, and I will rebuild Sivanati Nonshinga again to become champion of the world. There's no doubt. Nomaganjani.
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, that kid, having so many conversations with him, it's not the end. And yes, like you say, he got the knock. It could have taken down anybody. But let's get back to the business of the day, because boxing, we needed to survive. You needed to survive. We all do. We all loved it. We used to wake up in the wee hours of the morning. That's what growing up was all about. It was about boxing. The state of it. I mean, you've been very critical of how boxing is run in this country. What is the problem?
I think if you look at it, right, the most important aspect of boxing is the boxer.
Yeah.
And if you look administratively in this country, there's a commission that is supposed to do two things in South African boxing, which is governed by the Act Parliament, right? Mm-hmm. One is administratively. Two is to protect the fighter, right? Now, I don't think either are being covered. And why do I say that? If you look at this year alone, there have been so many cancellations of tournaments. Fighters, please listen to me carefully, cutting weight, been told a day before that the fight's off. Fighters going to a venue in Sun City, not being told that the fight's not going to take place, haven't eaten for 2 or 3 days, get to this event to be told it's cancelled.
Reasons?
There's no money in the bank. The commission's not following the Act. The Act is clear.
Yeah.
The 2001 Act says 30 days prior. It's been amended to 14 days prior. And I still think 30 days should be the correct number, because to let a fighter down a day before, on the day of the weigh-in, I think what's happening is that they are not following procedure. Now, there's also a situation of, there's a letter of guarantee from the department saying they will finish the fight card and the fight purses. But that's not covered in the Act, Robert. The Act is clear. It doesn't say anything about government or provincial departments paying for an event. The money has to be in the bank. If there's no money, legally the fight can't happen. But those rules are being flouted.
But then where does the money end up? Because if there is...
But eventually gets paid, Robert, right? And I was listening to the Portfolio Committee for Parliament on Friday. And basically, the former acting CEO, whose term ended last week on the 11th of November, was saying that, you know, normally the payment happens within 7 days. And that's the norm. But he said, no, people need to be patient on 2 weeks and 3 weeks getting paid. Now, let me ask you this question. That person in question, if you had to tell him that his salary was getting kicked back by 3 weeks, how would he feel? Do you go to the Spur with your family and say to the GM of the Spur, I'll be paying you in 3 weeks' time?
Got to pay immediately.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Fighters are less fortunate than most. We're dealing with a sport that generally the fighters come from disadvantaged backgrounds and they need that money.
Sure.
And it's all about the fighter coming first. Why do they have to wait 2-3 weeks for a payment? It's just ridiculous.
But has it always been like that?
No.
So when did it change? When did it change to this lackadaisical way of doing things? And yeah, it will get there eventually sometime, somewhere.
There've always been isolated problems with regards to payments.
Yeah.
But the former acting CEO, Cindy Ngobo, and the CEO before the Chulafelo Lojaka, this never would have happened. This never would have happened.
So it's an admin problem.
Correct. As I said to you, administratively, the commission's there for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, administratively to make sure everything's in check. And two, to protect the fighter. Now, you telling me when a fighter gets into the ring, after he or she wins, has to wait 3 weeks for a payment. Is that fair?
So you have an acting CEO whose term has come to an end.
Correct.
So then what happens? Because...
So here's another twist to what's been going on, right? We had an ops director, Mr. Mandla, and he basically, there was an issue when Sivanati defended his championship successfully in East London, that there was a miscalculation in the scores for a title fight that happened, 2 females. And the result was changed 3 days later. The fight supervisor, which was his second offense happening in this type of scenario with a score being added up incorrectly. And also, a drawn decision with Jackson Childcare, I believe it was last year or the year before, where it was a drawn decision, majority drawn, and they crowned a new champion on a majority draw. And anyway, so it was a second offense that this PM did, the provincial manager did. And I like him. It's nothing personal, but it's business. We're talking about boxing business now. And he never got suspended, but Mandla, who was the ops director, did because it was his duty. No, he wasn't the fight supervisor. So he gets suspended, right? And the provincial manager is not suspended.
But who sanctions these suspensions?
Well, that's a very good question.
Okay, let's answer it after this.
Marawa Sports Worldwide Live.
In 3, 2, 1.
On 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live.
MSW.
Lotto Star's Real Rush Game Suite is packed with spinning wheels and wild multipliers. Are you ready to embark on a thrilling adventure where your fortune could change with a spin of the reels on our Habanero, Ruby or Buffet games? You could win supersized payouts of up to 20 million rand on our Real Rush games instantly. Lotto Star, your world of live games.
Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
New looks good, feels great, like that new lounger, the firm seat, the relaxation, so much space. Can you feel that? Now feel all of that for longer with a new car from Bidvest McCarthy. The firm seat, the fresh leather, so much space, and so ready for adventure. You've been working so hard, let those hours pay off. Visit mccarthy.co.za or one of our dealerships nationwide. Bidvest McCarthy, we deliver, always.
If you tend to flip out in Black Friday month, let's chat. Prepare yourself for deals of flippin' epic proportions, like the fabulous foldable Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 for only 799 Rand on a 2.4 gig Red Core plan. A Black Friday saving of 10,800 Rand. Deal valid from 7 November to 6 December with more Black Friday deals at Chats Connect, SA's largest independent dealer channel exclusive to Vodacom. T's and C's apply. Ready, steady, flip.
Black Friday with one day only. It's unreal. We're talking all the way up to 100% off. From the 20th to the 27th of November, every day we'll be dropping a series of unreal deals for you. As always, it's fastest fingers first. Download our app, enable notifications, subscribe to our daily mails, and follow us on social media. We'll give you an unreal heads up. Black Friday with one day only. It's unreal.
Hi, me again. If you know what this ridiculously short 30-second ad is for, you'll probably know what I hate most about it. Yes, it's the legal line. Pineapple AFSP 48650 is underwritten by Old Mutual Insurer or licensed FSP and non-life insurer. T's and C's apply. I mean, who cares? Have you ever heard anyone say, wow, did you hear that pineapple ad? Go to pineapple.co.za for 100% insurance, 0% other stuff with all those super interesting, invaluable T's and C's. Well, I haven't. I've also never heard a complete ad where we...
The crazy store's got deals galore and everything you need. From tinsel presents, wrapping, and a star for your Christmas tree. We've got all sorts of games and sports, many toys to buy. Stationery, arts and crafts, come on and don't be shy. No need to panic shop, we're your one-stop Christmas spot. Your table will be dressed and you will not be stressed. When Christmas Eve is here, you'll want to sing and cheer. I got everything at the crazy store and I can't wait for next year.
Hey, you never know what you might find this Christmas.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
That's Coach Lishana Lasiema, Sekhukhune United.
What about it, brother?
It's a great team with no coach.
I don't think it's right to say so because Makuwe has been with the team for long. I don't think that is right, brother, to put that Sekhukhune doesn't have a coach.
They don't have a head coach because the head coach who was there isn't there. Mr. Makuwe has always been there, like you rightfully say. I don't take that away from him. I haven't seen a statement pointing him to be the head coach.
Yes, brother, thank you for telling me. I'm aware of that.
Would you love to work alongside him?
Anyway, brother, well kept it up. But now there's a twist.
And the combination with Mr. Makudubedi would be the best for football.
Brother, thank you very much. I take that, I'll take that as a compliment.
Hashtag MSW.
Hashtag MSW.
Lishana Lasiema has been announced today as the head coach of Sekhukhune United, the very same conversation we had with him 2 weeks ago.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Mina ngithanda ukubongela nje kakhulu South Africa. Yo kuningi okwenzekile. Mawuthi yabuka nje irugby win World Cup, iSundowns yazowin iFAL, iSundowns emantombazane win iChampions League, icricket iphume kuma semi-finals, abagijimi nabo benza kahle le phesheya abanye, ibafana na isinamathuba amaningi ukuthi ingene ku World Cup. Ayiningi kakhulu izinto ezenzekele iSouth Africa ku-2023. Kube benguya ngami ngiyipresident benzoye ngithi nje kunosuku lokuthandaza nje sonke sithandazele nje izinto ezinhle kodwa nje siyabonga kakhulu.
Let there be a day of prayer, according to that WhatsApp voice note, saying that South Africans are doing so well as far as the sporting front is concerned. Are we? Hey, lots of voice notes directed towards the Mamelodi Sundowns ladies. We're not ignoring them. Trust me, we are just packaging them because tomorrow they're going to be arriving back in the country and we will have them here. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe what they keep doing and reinventing themselves. So join us in that celebration tomorrow. We'll include a lot of these WhatsApp voice notes that are coming through us, even on the YouTube channel. A lot of those are coming through. But it's also important for us to try and fix boxing. I think what Colin Nathan is really dishing out here is very disturbing. And I don't think any organization would want that. If you are an organization that prides itself or takes itself seriously and wants to even grow further, I get a sense, Colin, that some of these things that happen at the AGMs, that are the books being cooked?
Good question on that, right? So last year's AG reports on the financial spending was local travel 1.2 million rand.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 5.5 million rand. Now, you're looking at me and I can see your eyes bulging, and it's, how do you justify that? And I was reading a piece in the Sowetan today that it was claimed that over 100 promoters had to go to a conference. Now, 100 promoters, we don't have nearly close on. Let's just say we did 100 of those promoters, right?
Yeah.
Did a show. That would be 100 shows for the year. Let's just say one show a year.
Yeah.
So it's 100 shows. We're not having close on that. So how do you justify that? And that's just a BS excuse.
100 promoters.
466,000 rand a month on local travel. Now, what's going on? The boxing awards, which I sent to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For the event, 964,000 rand on an event manager. Where's the money going to? Who's the event manager? Was there a tender process?
To manage what? The awards
So
themselves?
the awards. Now, the fighters who got Fight of the Year and Female Fight of the Year each got 50 grand each. But an event manager gets 963 or 64,000 rand.
621
Yeah.
and 84 cents.
Well, yeah. So how do you justify that, Robert? And unfortunately, listening to the portfolio committee, the session on Friday, they seem to think there's no accountability and they've done a good job. And they avoided all the questions. They weren't to the point.
Yeah.
I believe they weren't being honest. And they just avoided the questions.
But then where were the people to give researched counter questions? Because that is what they're there for. They're there for accountability. So if you're saying that the event manager is getting 964,000 rand, the production itself costing 435. So the one person gets more than the actual entire event. How does that work?
But that's what I'm saying to you. It's like believing in the tooth fairy and making the tooth fairy pregnant. I mean, it's like you can't make this stuff up. And you're just shaking your head. But I've been doing this now for a year, Robert. I've been shaking my head now for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at all these decisions. There's no accountability. And at the end of the day, suffering the most is the fighter. And that's why I'm so angry. Because, yes, I made money. I've made a good living out of boxing.
Sure.
But I've also made millionaires. And I get my fighters the best deals. And I'm proud of that fact. But I always put my athlete first. And I think somewhere along the lines, that motive has been lost. And you look at, and then there was training. And if you didn't go for training, you wouldn't be licensed. And who was giving the training? Guys who were not qualified to give training seminars. And then you had to be tested on it. And if you didn't pass, you wouldn't get your license. And I licensed in Japan because I think you might have seen that.
Yeah.
I got a dual license.
Correct.
Just in case. Because some of my friends got suspended for no reason, because they were outspoken on social media about the boxing awards, that they could have been rigged.
Then they get suspended.
And they got suspended.
Who suspends them?
The acting CEO at the time.
On what grounds?
Well, that's the thing. I have a friend in Cape Town, Devin Curry, who's been very outspoken.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know if he's suspended or not.
No, but you're going to be suspended for what? For being outspoken about your own sport that
Correct.
you love so much?
Correct.
By an acting CEO. Why weren't they a permanent CEO?
Yeah, I mean, you're asking me questions that I wish I could answer.
But what's the boxing fraternity saying, though?
They are up in arms, and they just don't have the ball sack to come here and talk, and I am. And I'm just waiting for the repercussions, because they must bring it. I've got a great attorney. I'm ready.
The Minister of Sport, have you spoken to him? Is he?
I have. I'm hoping he listens to this. I'm hoping he listens to this interview, and I'm begging him to try and fix the sport, because it's in tatters. It's in pieces. We need a new look, and the damage that the outgoing board has caused, along with the acting CEO, and there's one or two other people behind the scenes, and we all know who we're talking about here. And I hope to God that they never, ever put foot in a boxing tournament ever again.
But who's going to be able to clean this up? Because they haven't been able to.
The sports minister.
He's the only one right now who can.
Right now, he's got the power to make the sport right, to do right by the sport.
Let me ask you a very simple question. Should there be a commission of inquiry?
Absolutely, 110%.
That must start immediately.
Correct.
We've seen it happen in cricket. And
boxing should happen in boxing too.
Because in the same way that so many fighters, especially in the Eastern Cape or anywhere around the country, are struggling. We speak to them on a regular basis, might not be on air, but they are yearning, they are dying. In the year, they don't even get a bout. They don't even get to fight.
And that's another point that just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart. The acting CEO got 1.5 million rand for his salary in the last from this recent financial report. Fighters entry level got 4,000 rand a fight, and they fight twice a year if they're lucky. Plus, they got to pay for medicals. And they pay 25% to the trainers and managers. So 25% off of that. I mean, and you're talking about guys who just simply don't care. And they start doing all these women in sports programs, and it's a flop, because fighters are getting paid only 3 weeks after their fights. And what's going to happen? Without fighters, Rob, I wouldn't be sitting here. If I didn't train the athletes that I trained, no one would care about me. You wouldn't even entertain me being in your studio. But I have a voice, and I'm fighting for those fighters. Because you know what? Christmas is going to come, and all those guys who let those fighters down, right? I want them, hopefully they'll listen, because the recordings, the podcast is going to go out, and they're going to listen to this. And I hope when Christmas comes, when they're with their families, eating nicely and sleeping warm, that they think about the fighters that they've let down by canceling tournaments the day of the weigh-in, a week before the weigh-in, fighters that never got paid for 2-3 weeks. I want them to think about those fighters over the festive season, because those are the fighters that employed these people and kept them in jobs.
Why were they saying that female and male boxer of the year got 100,000 rand in the
50,000 rand each. They got 50 grand each. But the event manager got close on 1 million rand, as we've just discussed.
Yeah.
How does it make sense, Rob?
And the public relations officer gets 36,000.
For what?
Branding items got 135 items. Ground transport got 87,000.
And I got transported in that transport. There were combis. How do you justify that spend? Where?
A normal taxi combi?
Correct.
And that's the transport that they're talking about.
Correct.
Whoever the MCs were got 112,500 rand. The trophies and awards were of a cost of 260,000 rand. The Deco, I'm sure it was collapsed at the end of the event, got 300,000 rand.
Can you justify those figures?
Well, I can't. I'm failing to, because when I got them a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't believe. And that is why we needed to have it come through from you, because an event cost of 3.2 million rand at the Chief Albert Luthuli ICC in Durban. I remember you coming out of that fuming.
I've been so angry. I've been so angry about what's been going on in South African boxing. And I'd like to think I'm an ambassador when I travel overseas, win or lose or draw. I love the sport with all my heart, and I love the fighters with all my heart. And they are the people who are getting screwed. And it's just shocking, and something needs to be done about it. And even when these people go, they still need to be accounted for what they've done. The damage that they've done in this sport this year alone is just disgraceful.
You still with the SABC in any way?
Correct. I am. And I wonder if my job's on the line because of this interview.
Why would it be on the line?
Well, they've signed an MOU with Boxing South Africa to do events. And I just hope that's...
But does it exclude a person of your caliber speaking openly
no,
to try
it shouldn't.
and improve boxing and bring awareness to what you're telling us right now? Because if your voice wasn't there, we would be going on and on and on with the sport that is just slowly, well, not slowly, rapidly dying.
Exactly. And I thought about coming here. I've thought about coming here for a long time. As you know, we've been chatting for a few weeks now, and I wanted to get certain things out the way. But I'm still angry, and I still feel that if I didn't do this interview, and if I wasn't outspoken the way I am, nothing would be done. Nothing would be said. And if I just listened to the interviews for the portfolio committee on Friday, there's no accountability.
But why are you having... Okay, acting CEO is leaving.
He's gone. Legally, he's gone, from what I've seen.
Who are you expecting to come into that portfolio? Hopefully not as an acting person, but on a full-time basis.
So, Madla hasn't been charged. There's a 60-day window period for him to be charged. It's now been 90 days. So surely he gets his job back. And because he's ops director and his job was permanent, he should be the next in line to be acting CEO. So in theory, legally, if you asked me, and I'm not a lawyer, mind you, you're a lawyer, so maybe you know, Rob. Surely his job should be back in position and he should be acting CEO until the minister appoints someone. He hasn't been charged. Legally, he hasn't been charged.
So he has...
been sitting at home twiddling his thumbs waiting for a charge sheet. It's never come. The acting CEO is now
still
gone.
getting paid.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
But surely now he should come back into office and he should come in as acting CEO.
Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, is the one person that, as you say, you hope he's listening. I don't know if he's back from Russia. He had to go to Russia on work. We will follow this up, Colin, because it is that serious. I think if people were misleading Parliament, that in itself is serious. It's an indictment. You're not supposed to do that. That accountability has seen many a politician fall on the sword, falling out of favor, having to leave the positions that they're in. But you cannot. I mean, the Parliament's there to make people account. And if you're going to be misleading, misinforming us as the public via that tool, then something drastic has to happen. Something has to give at some point. Just your final comments. I mean, as we head into this, and we'll follow it up with the minister, and we'll bring it back onto the table here. And if anybody else wants to come in and counter all of that you've said, again, we've got extremely, how many microphones? We'll open a proper debate and we bring it here because we all want boxing to thrive. We've seen it when it's run properly, what we can get, what the public broadcaster can get in terms of fights, what Randburg as well, Supersport can get in terms of fights. And we're not getting that right now.
My closing point is my wish for next year and the new board and whoever the new CEO is going to be is to put the fighter first. To remember the main person of the sport is always the fighter. And I've said it in interviews previously, I'm going to say it now. The rest of us are just part of the cast. The athlete needs to come first. Without a boxer, no one is employed. And I think that's my message, that the fighter is the most pivotal and most respected person and athlete in the sport of boxing, because without the athlete, we don't have the sport.
Colin Nathan calling for a commission of inquiry from the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, saying that boxing, sadly, is on its knees. We'll take your comments and a whole lot more. Colin, I want to thank you so much indeed. We will have a follow-up soon.
Thank you.
Marawa Sports Worldwide Live. In 3, 2, 1. On 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live. #MSW.